that's just something that does not occur, especially with men. And I just found it to be so profound. And I knew you had done deep work on yourself to be able to do that.
I know there's a lot of things that I have done to be able to open up and talk to my friends a lot more. That's not what I want you to remember me by. This is not who I am. It's who I might have been, but it's not where I'm going.
Hey, it's Adam, and you're listening to The Adam Cobb Show. Weekly content devoted to all things fitness, finding your center, and fumbling through fatherhood. Thank you for taking the time to tune in. We hope this is a space that you come to, that you can feel connected. We're better together. Please subscribe and follow all of our social channels so you don't miss a thing. Let's listen to today's episode. So today we have my boy, and let me just make sure I say this right before we even start. It's Burnette, right? There's no fancy way to say that.
Not in this country, at least. I think that maybe if you go to France, you might have something a little bit better. But
how would they say it?
Oh, that's accurate.
No, I'm kidding. Okay, cool. Yeah, excited to share today where we get to have, first of all, our first Zoom. This is exciting. Can we just get a little something for that? Today we get to have on a dear friend, Ralph Burnette, who is by trade, a software engineer and a dad of two, married, dad of two, and someone who I deeply respect and who I was just really looking forward to having a conversation, who keeps it real. And that's really what this is about. And we'll get into specifically what this story is about, because Ralph had just called me over the weekend. He shared something with me based off our regrets episode. Okay. And I said, after a few days, I said, Ralph, you need to jump on and be a guest, and we need to record and share this story. So first off, Ralph, welcome.
Thank you. Very nice to be here. Thank you guys very much.
Yes. And let's just be real and real transparent right off the bat. You said, are we still on? We were about to record at 3:30. At 2:30, you hit me and said, are we still on for today? If there is a way to postpone this, that would be very helpful. I have been up since 2, working since 6, and literally just walked in the door from the office, and I'm exhausted. I mention that because this is part of this dad life, and you're still here. So I'm curious, what's the thing that's inside of you that didn't just cancel?
Well, I made a commitment to you, man. I'm not going to leave you hanging. Absolutely not. Yeah, it's been a day. Let me tell you, it has been a day. The past 2 nights, I've been up all night and early mornings with the kids, maybe 2, 3 a.m., and not a lot of sleep. Had to go into the office. I usually work from home, so throw in some Denver traffic in there, and that'll get you, a little bit elevated. And yeah, it's been a day. Very busy at work. I walked in, and I wanted to make sure I gave you my best, so I wanted to check in, make sure that we were still on, and if that was the case, then I need to get into go time mode.
Absolutely, yeah. And let us just share that, like, giving us your best is just showing up. Al's been a great example for that for me as a dad of 3 before I had 3, and just showing up. And I appreciate you saying yes and just going, okay, like, let's effing go is the message I got from you. But also that you don't need to elevate, higher, register, like, exuberance more than you just showing up as you are, right?
Yeah.
Anything to add to that?
Yeah. I mean, as I told you, Ralph, before we even started recording, I was like, I actually prefer this is the state of, where you are in the world right now, right? Like, we are just happy that you're here. We're happy that you're going to tell your story, share your story. So yeah, you already exceeded expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So,
of course,
splash a little water on my face. I'm ready. I'm ready to go another couple rounds.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, if you could tell me, so number 1, you're in Colorado. What was the temperature today?
Today it was pretty cold. We got a storm rolling in. There's definitely some snow in the forecast. I think it's supposed to hit the next couple of days. Nothing major. I think we got like 45.
Oh, 45. Okay.
Not terrible.
Denver, right?
It's not New England cold, so I mean it's different. 45 with some sunshine is beautiful.
Yeah. Originally from Connecticut. Yeah. A New Englander here. Shout out to New Englanders. And I'm curious, what's over that left shoulder of yours?
That
Social
is,
distortion.
that's my favorite concert poster. Social Distortion, one of my favorite bands. It was printed by Shepard Fairey, who is a very famous artist, and you probably know him from the Obama Hope print that was back a few years ago. It's about a tricolor print. He's done a lot of work, the Obey Giant campaign. So I got that for my 40th birthday, gift to myself, 40th anniversary of my favorite band, and I got to see him a couple weeks later here in Denver. So that was a
That's
great
awesome.
poster. It's autographed by everybody in the band, so it is kind of like my prized possession. I got a bunch of concert posters I collect. That's my thing.
Amazing.
Yeah, love it. Hey, just wanted to ask you a little bit about that. And what I'm hoping for here is basically we had that Bronnie Ware, another thank you to Bronnie Ware, the author of the top 5 regrets of the dying. And we did a full episode on that. We got a lot of response from the clips that we shared and from the episode, and people just being honest. But the thing that really struck me was, especially from like man to man, like another man telling another man, and Ralph texted me over the weekend and said, hey, I want to share something with you. I'm going to be FaceTiming you today at some point. So fast forward, there's the weekend. All of a sudden, I am taking a break from the family, AKA what? I'm unpacking, AKA I'm on the pooper.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
let's keep it real, right? And all of a sudden, I have my phone, and there comes the FaceTime, you know? And like,
Did you pick it up on?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, nice.
So then I was like, okay, this is important. Why? Because he set it up.
Yeah.
Textbook, even in all the relationships, because we've talked about this too, in relationships, when you want to talk to your partner about some meaningful stuff, it's like, hey, when's a good time? Or hey, is later a good time? So Ralph text me and said, hey, I want to hit you up later. I'm going to FaceTime you. So then you did that. I probably wouldn't have picked up if you didn't do the text message. The FaceTime came through. I answered it, right? Kind of leveraged it up a little bit, looking up, right? And I said, okay, this is probably the best thinking spot for me anyway.
Look at you with all the puns today.
And like, I'm go. What's the matter?
Yeah.
You know, and I sort of thought Ralph was going to say like, I got a third kid on the way, or like, I got twins coming too, right? But Ralph, you didn't say that. Can you share what you shared with me?
Yeah. First of all, he gave you the full disclosure of where he was and what he was doing. I'm like, I don't care. All right, we're getting to some business here. So that was it was definitely a bit of a shock to
It didn't shock your face. And because it didn't shock your face, like you didn't actually change your facial awareness, I was like, oh, this is serious.
Did it stand as like some form of an icebreaker for you?
I don't think so.
when we were all in college, we all in the same house. It is what it is. I didn't care. I could care less.
That's fair.
I reached out to you because, you know, we've had a lot of conversations over the past couple of years, and they've been pretty good conversations, especially since we both became dads, you know, relatively around the same time. So we have a shared bond there with that. That's very important to me. But, you know, I've done a lot of work in the past couple of years on things in my life. So a few things I had to get straight with myself. And I got really honest with myself about a lot of things. And, you know, I came to the realization a while ago that I was, you know, maybe a bit of a punk back in the day, you know, when we first met and when we were younger and we were in college. And, you know, maybe I carried a bit of a chip on my shoulder and probably had a bad attitude to match all that. And, you know, I didn't really like the way that maybe it resonated with certain people, Adam being one of them. So I called him up and I said, bro, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the way that I was all those years ago. And I'm sorry that the way that I presented myself was not the way that I'm doing it now. And I'm sorry for all the missed opportunities that we could have had because of this wall that I put up for myself. And it was important for me to tell him that. And I didn't care where he was sitting at. Right there.
Man. And like I said to you over the weekend, I want to say now, is that that's just something that does not occur, especially with men. And I just found it to be so profound. And I know you've done work, but that for me was a deeper level. And I knew you had done deep work on yourself to be able to do that and to not just simply say, listen, it's been 20 plus years ago. I'm a new man now. We have a good friendship now. What's the point of even saying it? So I'm curious as to like, for the person that, because you watched the regrets episode, you saw the regret clip, you said, and that regrets clip sort of.
Yeah, that was a gentle nudge from the universe to say, hey, go do this now. It's been something that I've been carrying for a year, and
Yeah.
it's been in the back of my mind and weighing heavy on me. And I was looking for a time to do it. And I was kind of holding out that maybe we'd be in the same room at some point to do that. And that's,
yeah. Was there something specific about that clip that you saw and or the timing that had you take that kind of action?
Yeah, it was. So the specific clip that I saw, it was on Instagram, and I was watching the stories and kind of scrolling and whatnot, and I'd have to paraphrase, but I do believe it was to the effect of always let people know how you feel while they're still here. So never miss the opportunity to let somebody know that you're thankful for them, you're grateful for them, you care about them, you love them. And it did come at another challenging time. And a year ago, I shared this with you that I lost somebody that was had a very big impact on my life earlier when we were in college, and it had come around to the 1 year mark for that. So Saturday was that day. And all that in my mind was, call your book and get this off your chest right now, because he deserves to know that. And you deserve to tell him that.
And you deserve
If you are, something were to happen, I don't want to let another day go by and not say something about that.
Yeah.
That's why I did it. It was perfect timing. It was everything. So that's why it happened. And I knew you were on the toilet, so I figured I'd call you while I had you, and you were sitting there, completely captive audience. You weren't going.
Yeah. Yeah. You had me locked in, captive on that moment. And what I said to you was, in response, I said, thank you. And, that means a lot. I imagine that took a certain amount of work to do that. Thought, feeling, bravery, courage, and it just means a lot. And it really speaks to who you are to say that. I was curious in that response, how was that to receive in the way that I responded to you?
That was exactly the way I wanted it. I couldn't. I don't know. I didn't really think about the outcome of how it would be. I knew that it would be received well with you.
Yeah, because I was thinking it could have gone a different way, which would have been, hey man, it's like 20 plus years ago. Like no worries. Like water under the bridge. It's all good. Hey, we're dads now. Let's move forward. And like that would have been dismissive, right? It wouldn't have been. You probably wouldn't have felt seen or heard. And I just think in that moment, like I probably wouldn't. I might have responded like that 5 years ago before having some couples therapy and personal therapy and really understanding as to like the enormity of that moment. Like again, to me, if someone's listening and watching this right now, it's you have something on your heart. No matter how long has passed, it's time, like you deserve, and inside of your chest to get that out. Right? Was that the sort of the feeling of like what happened when we hung up the phone? Like. And you said you kind of sat there for a little bit processing. I was wondering about that moment. If you could just walk us through that moment there. What was that like for you?
It was one of those moments where you kind of see it, and play out in the movies where it's just get that weird background music and stuff, and everything kind of goes fuzzy on the sides, and you're just kind of focused at savoring that moment because it was important to me. And, it was challenging to do, to be totally honest with you. So it was it was it was a relief in a way. It was a very positive relief. I mean, it was something that was important to me, and I knew that it would be important to you. And I knew that at this juncture in life where we're at right now with having kids and all that we've done and all the moves that we've made, that it would be something that you would look back at me and be like, yeah, Ralph's good. He's a good dude.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt like it was like it instantly created a deeper connection. If we were going to talk about maybe surfacey level stuff, which we normally don't do, but we could even dive deeper. And I guess like part of me was like, like this is what like this whole like life's about, is to be able to show up in like this moment. Cause I can think of moments of loved ones that have wanted to say things and they didn't. They thought, well, you know what? A lot of time has passed. I wouldn't even know how to bring it up. And it's one thing to feel that way, another thing just to do it. So again, just, a lot of acknowledgement to you for that moment and to do that and be here and sharing it. Because I do believe somebody's going to watch this and hear this and go, you know what? I'm going to go ahead. Like I'm going to have a Ralph moment, right? I'm going to go ahead and make that call, because I don't want that time to pass. And hopefully it's the right time for them. Hopefully this moment right here and they're watching, listening is their time, right? That's my hope.
I got 2 questions.
Yeah.
The first question is for Ralph. And I guess, because a lot of times people are in these moments, right? And I think it can go one of 2 ways, right? Or I guess the motivation can go one of 2 ways. One, there's like I need to get this off my chest. And it's just like a purely kind of like, I said it, it's out there, I've gotten the relief necessary, and we can kind of, I don't think that's what this is, but I'm going to say it anyway. I've gotten the relief that I need from kind of the release of having said what I need to say, and now we can kind of go from there, right? The other way in which this can go is like, in which I think is happening, but I want to hear your perspective, is were you looking for like a deeper connection, right? Did you think like, hey, Adam and our relationship is good. We've moved past certain things to a certain point, but this thing that I haven't gotten off my chest is keeping us from the next thing, right? Like, I wonder if there was some sort of, not just the fact of like, hey, I need to share this with you, but on some level, was there this feeling of like, there's almost a block here, right? Yes, we can be in the same room, we can have good conversation, we can have deep conversation, but like, if I don't say this thing, not just from the regret of not saying it, but we can't really be the friends that I think that we could be, sort of thing.
I would say that, yeah, I mean, I definitely wanted to make sure that it was something that would obviously create more of a connection between you and I. I feel like our friendship over the past couple of years has grown substantially in really great ways. And I know there's a lot of things that I have done with myself to be able to open up and talk to my friends a lot more, and to be honest and be available and present and vulnerable. And I wanted to make sure, because I don't think I did that with you before. And in order for us to really be able to capitalize on that, I had to do it. And I had to let you know that I recognize that and I didn't like it. And that's not what I want you to think. And that's not what I want you to remember me by. This is not who I am. It's who I might have been, but it's not where I'm going. It's where it was. So that's, I really did it because I respect him, and I respect Adam a lot. He's an awesome dude, and he's done a lot of great things with his life, and I really, really admire a lot of the things that he's done. And I want him to know about that. I mean, it's stuff like this it's important to me because I've come a long way in a lot of ways, and I wanted to make sure that he knew the impact that he had on me. Because, to be honest with you, there are other people that got the same version of Ralph Burnette that I'm not calling.
Right.
I'm not. I'm just not going to do it.
That was amazing.
You know what? There's some other people that I am going to make the call to, because those are my friends and my brothers, and our relationship and the bond that we have with the boys from Church Street. That is a point in my life that I hold on to dearly, and I appreciate it more at my age and my landing right now in life than I ever did. Because without every single one of those dudes, I would not be here today. That to me is just such a strong, awesome friendship and a group of guys that come from all different angles and all different walks of life, and everybody's a little bit different. Everybody's a little bit the same, and we all got together. We shared that moment in our life for 4 years, and I cherish those memories. So I want to make sure that I am in great standing with all those guys, and that is extremely important.
Love that. The second question I have, is for Adam. How is it being on the receiving end? And what I mean by how is it being on the receiving end, was this something like that Ralph brought to you that you were kind of not necessarily anticipating, but did it even resonate? Not just the fact that he brought it to your attention, but was it something that, hey, if you go back 20 something years, it was actually sitting on your heart too, right? Like, I'm curious from your perspective of this, if it's clearly something for Ralph, right? But I also wonder, was it something for you that maybe you kind of just got over, or you kind of just chalked it up to, like you said, that's what it was, and we've moved on since then. But like, how was it for you hearing that? How is that for your soul, kind of speak, right? Like, what did that moment, not just the fact that he brought it up to you, but the actual thing that he was effectively saying sorry for, did you yourself feel the sense of like, I needed that? Like, you know what? Thank you. Not just because you said it, but like, I actually needed that apology.
I like to acknowledge your question, because you asked a question and you go, let me rephrase that. And I thought that was amazing. Talk about being present with your own question.
Appreciate it.
That was Miyagi shit right there. Man. Okay. I've shared with people that I have a brother from college that was a straight up curmudgeon. Okay. Like, angry and annoyed and frustrated almost all the time, smoking butts, and just like, blah, right? And I was the opposite. I was always like, I was the guy, and like, always like sunshiny, bright, positive, and like bouncing basketballs off people's doors on a Saturday morning to get them outside, to get them to play ball and be outside. And I share with so many people that, but when people say like, people can't change, when people literally say people can't change, I bring up Ralph as someone that's like, well, actually, let me tell you about my brother from college that was just like, when I say curmudgeon, it's like, it was just kind of like, grouchy, like, let's be real, Ralph, right? Like, that's sometimes how you were in college. And
definitely moody back then. And you know what? And I can honestly tell you, a lot of it was a front. So
yeah. And that's what you shared with me. So like, I think that I share with people that like, there was this guy that I knew, but we weren't that close. I was much closer with like some of the other guys during college, and we shared some cool moments because I think at the core, we're very similar. But in that time, there were other things at play. And I say, and he made a radical change. Like, now he's got a big old smile on his face. He is like genuinely like, I can tell he feels joy, and he's where he wants to be. He is like, this dad thing is like, there's nowhere better. There's no place better. And I'm like, ooh, man, I need to get some of that in my system on this Sunday, after a full Saturday, and now Sunday, woo. I'm kind of like Sunday at 3 p.m. I'm thinking of Ralph, right? Like, whoo, I need to get some of that Ralph in me right now. Like, this is the best place, nowhere else I want to be. Ralph. And then Ralph, even though I'm the coach that dials everybody's morning routines in, I'm hitting up Ralph at least 5 times in the last 2 years around, can you tell me again about your morning routine and the sequence of things? Because I feel like Ralph, not only being an explosively creative human being, he's dialed in some of these like these routines and habits. So that would be my response there. And a second half to that would be, I didn't need it. It wasn't like my soul was like, oh, finally Ralph said sorry or something. But what it did do was it gave me like a deeper sense of hope for like humanity and for like men, like the iron sharpens iron that we talk about between me and you and Gene. And we do this and we're sharing this show out. And sometimes, you know, it's like some good responses, and just like any new show, it's like some like crickets. And the crickets, it's not about the crickets, but this moment was a direct response from like one of the clips.
Right.
And I thought, yes, this landed in someone's soul, but specifically my boy's soul. And it moved him from not just feeling something to get him to take action and then to call someone, that someone being me. And I thought like, okay, we're on to something. You know, what we're doing on this show, and also the friends that I have in my life, like we're going to be good. You know, we got a good community. We got a good village. So that's kind of my full response to that. Yeah, it's a good question.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you both.
How did that moment of reconnection, of you sharing, hey, this is something I regretted and this is something that I'm sorry about, how did that moment of reconnection in that way impact your perspective on regret, sort of like, you know, in moving forward?
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
Did it add like a different energy to your day in a sense? Like once you kind of got that out there and you kind of went through that motion, and not to say that you went through the motions, but once you had gone through that exercise of sharing your regret with Adam, getting his positive response, I'm sure there was somewhat of like a buildup that you had, kind of like, ooh, I don't know how this is going to go. I think this is how I want it to go. And then actually having taken the action step, heard the response, it went how you wanted it to go, maybe even better. Did that then allow you to be like, ooh, like I kind of, there's more things I want to get out. There's, you know, did it change your just overall kind of mood and approach to, you know, things of this nature?
It's fuel, you know. I mean, it keeps the ball rolling because, like I said, I've been doing this for a while. You know, I've been running around apologizing to everybody for years now, and no, it's not true. I haven't. I definitely done some work and stuff, but it's not like I'm not walking in every room going, "Hey, man, I'm sorry." Sometimes, but not all the time. But no, it's fuel. It definitely keeps the momentum going because I live a way where it was definitely not full of the Adam Cobb sunshine and rainbows like he's talking about. Don't even own a basketball, can't bounce it off anybody's door. But you know, I did try it the other way where I was just tanking along in life and head down working and not really taking the time to smell the roses per se, you know? So I tried that. Doesn't work. You got to slow down. You got to take a minute. You got to appreciate a lot of things. And, you know, having kids will do that to you real quick. But, you know, this all started a long time before that, a couple years before my daughter was born. But yeah, it's fuel, man. It just keeps you going. It keeps you focused. And it's like, yes, I got exactly what I wanted out of that. And that was a positive reception. And it definitely, it keeps you moving to the next day. And it's like, yeah, I can do some more cool stuff and bring some smiles to somebody's face and make them laugh and make them happy. And I feed off that now. And it's awesome. Right? I freaking love it. It's great, you know, and you can get that positive vibe coming back to you. It's really a great feeling.
Yeah, I love that. It's fuel. I really love that. It's fuel. It makes me wonder about what else provides fuel for us. I feel like that's a future episode. When we like to talk a lot about this whole like fumbling through fatherhood. And I know how important being a dad is, being a, you know, father is to you. And I'm just curious as to like, hey, when's the last time you felt like you were fumbling?
What time is it? God, man. My back hurts from picking up that ball so many times. I'm always fumbling and trying to put together another play. But I mean, this is it. Like I don't know if anybody tells me that they got it all figured out, I'm gonna tell me a liar because you do not have it figured out. You have to show up every single day and put your best foot forward and put your game face on and go after it because my little girl, oh gosh, she keeps me on my toes, man.
How old?
She's He keeps me, moving and alive and well. My son he's the sweetest little boy ever. He's very calm, cool, collected.
What are the ages again, Ralph?
Oh,
Of your
my
kids?
daughter is about to be 3. She'll be 3 in December.
Okay.
And my son will be 1 in January. So, at Christmas time, New Year's is a very busy time in this house.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you give me a specific thing that happened recently that you were just fumbling and you just had to sort of like let it happen? Anything come up?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So on the onesies for the kids, they got the snaps.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't get those snap. I don't understand like what the problem is here. I cannot when I put, especially with my son right now. I go up, change his diaper, and get his pants back on. I'm like, I got all this extra material hanging out the top. Why is this? So I'm like, oh my god, I did it again. You would think that after you do it like 2 or 3 times, that you'd like, no, I'll remember to put the snaps. No, I don't remember at all. And that's pretty trivial and little. You can't take your eyes off the boy for a second, because I did this the other day. I was up there changing them, turned around. I kid you not, like a millisecond. I turned back around and, Fountain of Youth, he is just hosing down the curtains behind the changing table. I'm like, oh my God, what do I do now? I grab it a diaper, I throw it on top of him. I'm holding it down. I'm like, holy smokes, this kid has completely soaked the curtains right behind the changing table. So that was our first moment as father-son when I'm like, your mom does not need to know about everything. So we're going to keep that one to ourselves. And he's 10 months, so he's not talking, which is perfect. And I just went ahead and let those drapes dry. But
oh my God, that's amazing.
I messed up the drive-through order. Now I have PTSD from that. Yeah, that was pretty bad. That was a family fail, though. That was me completely fumbling in front of the entire family. It's not just like, oh, I forgot some snaps on a onesie or my kid peed everywhere. I was put on the spot and I embarrassed myself. It was pretty bad at the Wendy's drive-thru of all places.
Hey, so when that happens, we've talked about this a lot. When that happens, like you can kind of laugh at yourself or you can get angry. And like part of this dad journey, I know for both of us, because we talked about this, there's like been some anger that like rises up when you have no control over a situation or something. And I don't know, man, I'm just curious as to like, what do you do in those moments? And like, if you do get frustrated, or what do you do with it? What do you do with that frustration or anger as a dad? Because it can happen often.
Well, this morning when I was fumbling through fatherhood and fumbling through my bedroom, trying to pick up my son and find him at 2 a.m. and get him, situated, change his pants, and get him a bottle. I kicked the pillow. It's one of those decorative pillows, that are on the bed during the daytime, and they serve no purpose whatsoever but to be put on the floor. Yeah, I stepped and kicked. I'm like tripping all over this thing. Kicked it across the room. My wife's like, just calm down. I'm like, oh, calm. I'm fine. I just kicked the pillow. That's it. That's all I did. It's fine. Where's the boy? Let's get him a bottle. Let's get him situated. So I need to always start my day here and get
Yes.
But yeah, I kicked the pillow. The peeing on the drapes thing, I laugh about that. My wife watches this. She's going to find out about that. She might not laugh. The snaps I get made fun of for all the time. The drive-through thing, she won't let me live that down. And now it's like I can't order anything. All she does is laugh at me about that. So you know what? I'm fine with that, because I don't mind when people laugh at me, as long as they're laughing at good nature. So I laugh at myself all the time. I tell jokes about myself all the time, and you know what? It's all in good fun, and I can make my wife laugh by making fun of myself. So happy wife is a happy life, and that's the way you got to live by.
I don't know if it's a generational thing, but I just keep chuckling because I have 3 kids, soon to be 4, 3 girls, 1 boy. And I never refer to my daughters as the girl, but like I religiously will be like, where's the boy? Where'd the boy go? What's the boy doing? Right? So when you said that, I just started chuckling because I was like, I wonder if it's just like a generational thing, if it's a man thing, whatever it may be. Because I definitely refer to my daughters as like by their proper name. Deacon, 98% of the time. Where'd the boy do? What's the boy doing? Where's he
That's
at?
good.
Sometimes if we gotta, abbreviate things, it's number one or number two. And Maddie, my daughter, is where's number one? You get number one, I get number two. We gotta move fast, Come on. You're in
Speaking
the
of
car,
number
come
one,
out of the
number
car.
two,
We gotta make a
power
quick move
rankings.
here. So I don't have time for syllables. It's one or two. We go. But yeah,
Hold
it's
on.
always where's the ball?
Hold on. Al just turned up this episode here. He's about to ask you a question, and this is probably the most important question of the episode.
Yeah. So we've been doing this little thing behind the scenes somewhat. We stole it from Deion Sanders, and it's power rankings. And so you had mentioned that you refer to your children as one or two. And that's usually an ability to make sure that you get the right child, to get them in the car, whatever it is that you're doing. So in the theme of this, I am curious, since you brought it up, Ralph, I didn't bring it up, you brought it up. Power rankings right now in your house. Who's one, who's two? This is a question of who's your favorite child. I want to be very.
I don't have a favorite child. I have a favorite son and I have a favorite daughter.
He's giving us Oprah answers. He's giving us Oprah answers.
I don't think me and my wife are going to have number three, so I'm going to have a favorite son and I have a favorite daughter.
Okay. All right. But right now, there's not one that's just like,
a little bit better.
No. And you know what? That's a good thing. That's a good question. And first of all, congratulations on soon to be 4.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
This is the cool thing about being a dad. And one thing that I'm really happy about where I'm at in my life, having children now, having my daughter was the most life-changing moment ever. And I can go in great detail about all that and where my head was at, and I could replay for you everything. I could even tell you, like from the moment that we found out that Madeline's name was going to be Madeline. First of all, the color drained out of my face, like completely. I went ghost white when I found out we're having a little girl. I'm like, oh, it was a lot. I let that one soak in, and then after she was born, I became a girl dad. I'm like, this is awesome. This is the best. There was a brand new piece of love in my heart that I never knew about. That's a feeling that you only get by being a girl dad. I'm convinced of that. And that was great. But having my son now, and I have 2 kids that are completely different. They're completely different personalities. And obviously, one's a boy, one's a girl, and they're doing completely different things. But to see them grow and develop and learn and the curiosity that comes out of both of these, but in different ways, it's great. Like, I got my daughter a bunch of Legos, the Duplo blocks, the big blocks, when she was very young, because I love Legos and I wanted to have that with her. So I got, some pastel colored Legos for her. Think, maybe if they're pink, she's going to love them. She did. She loves building blocks with me. We still do that. We do it every day almost. My son was born and he loves playing with blocks too. But his curiosity is smash, 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 smash. And Natty is all dainty and putting them up one at a time, stacking them up, trying to match the colors. And here comes Godzilla, my son. It's awesome. It is awesome to see them both. And it's really fun to see Maddie build a big tower. And then here comes Wes just crawling through and takes it out. So it's good. But no, there's no favorite. You can't have a favorite.
Okay, so we're not going to answer that, but I love the question. We're definitely going to do that again. My question to you is, because you've done a lot of reflection over the last however many years, and we don't know who Ralph is as a dad. Like, you didn't know that part of you before Madeline was born, right? And then you got to know this new part of you. Like, you've lived 40 years, and all of a sudden, this new part of you showed up. You got to learn this new part called dad. And I'm curious as to this person you're knowing as Ralph the dad.
Mm-hmm.
What are you liking about him? This new title you get to hold. What do you like?
Well, I
about
like
him?
being a dad. I like having 2 kids that are really happy to see me when I come back in the door. I work from home, so I get to spend the majority of my days with both my children. But like I said, I had to go in the office today, and I was gone for the better part of the day. I was gone by the time that they got out of bed, which I hate. So when I came home and my little girl comes running up to me, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy," it's the best feeling ever. It is it's one of those heartwarming moments that you see in the Hallmark movies, but they nail it. It really is. It's the best thing. It's the best feeling to have this little girl who doesn't see me all day long. She doesn't know what I dealt with in traffic. She doesn't know about all the stuff I had to do at work. She doesn't know that, I had a bowl of oatmeal today and I didn't get any lunch, but yeah, but I'll tell you what, that if there's any bit of that curmudgeon that you knew from 20 something years ago, he's way gone when that little girl comes running up to me to say, Daddy, 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 I missed you. It's that I love that. That feeling of belonging in a family is great. It's unmatched as being a father, to have that unconditional love coming from your children. Yeah, I can't tell you enough how much I love that. But
that's awesome.
my level of patience has definitely increased too. May come as a shock to you, but I have not always been the most patient person in the world.
Sure. Cool. That's cool. Patience. That patience, like a new part that you kind of got to know and learn. Yeah.
You gotta have patience, man. I have, I should have letters after my name with the amount of patience I have. So I am a doctor now. It's incredible. Like to know where I was with, no patience whatsoever to be able to come in now and be like, yeah, kid just peed all over the curtains. It's no big deal.
Yeah, because if you could tell that Westfield State Ralph, right, that 21-year-old version of Ralph, of like, hey, when you're going to be, when you're in your 40s as a dad, you're going to be incredibly patient and you're going to inspire your friends because of the level of patience you're going to have. What would that 21-year-old Ralph would have say?
I'm very patient. Incredibly, that's a stretch right now. So, I'd say that I've definitely improved in a lot of ways, but incredibly, that's way too much credit, dude.
Yeah.
Way too much credit. I have some flare-ups in traffic with my patience. There's not, it's not all there, but yeah, it's definitely a lot better than what it was. And you gotta have patience for children. You gotta have patience. That's number one for me. And you gotta have presence, and you have to have a sense of possibility, because you put all three of those together, I think that's fatherhood right there for me. It's the patience, it's the presence, and the possibility. Because if you're patient and you're present, you show up for them, anything is possible. If you're not patient or you're not present, they're going to turn into like rabid raccoons and run the house over and just tear everything apart. And they're going to be breaking stuff and throwing diapers everywhere. It's going to be a mess. But I noticed this a few months ago with my son when we were just laying on the floor playing blocks. And he was looking over at, I was building blocks and he's looking over at me. He's doing this. He's like, and I looked at him and I'm like, it's the same silly little smirk on both of our faces, but it's just like, boom, I got it right there. I am here on the floor with my boy doing nothing but stacking some big Legos together. And he is so into it. That's it. That's it. That's how you dad.
That's awesome.
Thank
you for that.
I could see
that was a great moment between me and him. And, those are my rules to live by for parenting, I guess. Those 3 P's: patience, presence, and possibility.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us. And I could see I almost thought we were going to get our first tears on the show, because I could see the emotion welling up in you as you shared that story about being on the ground with your son. And that, like, it's always funny, those little moments that you have that, like, to maybe an outsider seem like a know nothing kind of moment. But I feel like that's like all it really takes to build that connectivity with your kids. It's usually a objectively know nothing moment, but it's just like that little smirk, it's that little smile, it's that little hug. It's something that just came in kind of just like the, monotony of life, so to speak, that just like changes the game. The question I had for you though was, to your patience, presence, possibility, and you kind of started going down this path earlier. Yes, you've seen that with your kids as a dad. Now, have you been able to like transitive property those? And have you seen yourself being more patient in other areas of your life, seeing more possibility? Have you been more present? Or is it like, or do you find it a lot easier in the kid space? Or is it actually making its way into Ralph's outside world?
Oh no, that's a life-changing thing. For me, at least, I can't just turn that on and say, "Oh, here's the kids. I gotta be patient now." No, I gotta be patient. Okay. Yeah, I gotta be patient all the time. So you know what? That's a great question, because it really has definitely moved into other areas of life. Where I'm going to work, I'm a lot more patient. I'm a lot more present. and I'm a lot more positive.
Mm.
I could definitely feel those effects coming from everybody and everywhere that I go. And, I mean, I'm not Mr. Happy Go Lucky shooting rainbows out of my eyeballs and making other people really happy and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I definitely give off a good sense of positivity and presence where I do go. And I definitely would say that goes back to being a patient father, a present father. And yeah, I mean, it keeps the ball moving again. I said this at inertia and that the momentum behind it all. And yeah, it's definitely transferred into the rest of my life in a really good way.
When you say happy wife, happy life, like we've heard that. And what a lot of couples think is when they have their first kid or even their second, that like we're just going to get stronger and we're going to like get even more connected. And like what I found in my personal example and like what I've talked to many friends about, it's like actually kids actually can create some tension because there's the tiredness, the tension, you parent this way, I parent this way. We didn't even know how we were going to parent until the kid's there. Boy, girl, very different. I'm curious how you've been able to keep connection with your wife, because I also know you're a good husband, and how you keep that connection strong, because I know you care so much about being a dad, but I also know you care about being a husband. So I'm curious how you keep that connection alive.
Well, I was lucky enough to marry my best friend. So I was lucky enough to marry somebody that believes in me and brings out the very best of me and encourages me to be a better person. You want to talk about balance here? Everything that I am, Jana, my wife, is not. And she is the sweetest and most down-to-earth, humble human being. And she's so kind and sweet and caring. Always got this smile on her face. And that definitely is contagious. And that definitely wore off on me and brought it out in a good way. And she's very quick to remind me when I'm not being patient or maybe I forgot to do something or a lot of things. She'll let me know, but she brings out the best side of me. My kids do it. My kids do it too. But Jana did come first, and without Jana, I would not have my children, obviously. But anyways, she is a very positive impact in my life. And do we have moments? Yeah. And I can honestly tell you that about 98% of those things are my fault. And I'm saying that honestly. And that is definitely me being truthful with myself. There's 2% of the time that I didn't do it, though. And that... And those are the moments I live for. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, man. Well, Al, do you have any other questions for Ralph? Because I have one more to close out with, but anything else?
I don't know if it's a question.
Closing up here soon.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a question. If it's more of a statement. I think, obviously, I didn't know you, Ralph, back at Westfield, but it just sounds like this is like a picturesque moment of like full circle. It kind of feels, right? Just kind of like hearing your own personal testament of kind of like where you were, where you're coming through, some of the things that you were kind of struggling through. Adam kind of co-signing some of that maybe a little bit, right? And then seeing you here in this moment as a person who's meeting you for the first time and just seeing just like 180, right? From what, if I had to kind of imagine what you looked like or how you were 20 years ago, to just seeing someone who just seems so full of life, appreciative, like that smile you were talking about, like it's gonna make really easy social clips because it's in every time you speak, right? So yeah, it's just really awesome to, there it goes, smile again. It's just really awesome to kind of see that the actual 180 occur, right? I think we hear about it a lot and you kind of hear testimonials, but I think it's cool to see it in live action. So kudos to you for all the work you've done. And it seems like it's gone a long way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad that it's noticeable.
For sure.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And we've talked about your morning routines, and I've actually found it to be really inspiring. And I wanted you to kind of share that with us because you've really dialed it in. And I'm talking about when they're dialed in. We always know as a dad, they go up and down sometimes, but when they're really locked in, what do they look like? And what times do you have to, start them to be able to get them in before all the stuff happens with being a dad and being a husband?
Well, being a dad of two it definitely adds a lot of variables, a lot of challenges to that. So, being a software engineer, we work in an agile work environment. So we need to pivot at all possible times and change course of action at the drop of a hat, just go, So that is definitely helpful in my life now because I can pivot and I don't have to be so stuck in that routine. But yeah, my morning that's my time. Right. I've always been a morning person. Back when we were in school, I was working early morning shifts, whether it be driving that bread truck that I used to drive or getting up and going down to work on cars. I was always a morning person. I've always been a morning person, and I love getting up earlier. I love getting up earlier before anybody else because I'm like, I got to jump start on the day, man. Like get up before the sun comes up because it's like, I got you beat today. Here I am, ready to go. Let's rock.
What time do you knock out?
Usually around 10. That's bedtime. 9:30 goes in 9 o'clock sometimes. Depends on if we're sitting there just hanging out on the couch. That is the most relaxing point of my day when it's just me and my wife, and I'm just I'm sitting next to the person who wanted to spend the rest of her life with me, and that is the greatest sense of comfort. So I fall asleep. I think I'm totally in my comfort zone there. But she'll tell you sometimes it's 8:30, and I still don't believe her. But 9:30, I'm starting to doze a bit. 10 o'clock in bed.
All right, and then walk me through the morning. What time are you waking up? What are you doing? Because I know you have like 5 things you do, and I've written them down, and I want you to share them with us.
Yeah, I'm up at 4 every day. Lately, it's been earlier. I've been waking up and wide awake, and I don't like it because I that's not enough sleep. I definitely value sleep, but between my son getting up and he's doing a little bit of sleep regression right now, so that's been challenging. But I wake up like clockwork at 4, and I usually get up and get moving right away. There's been days, especially after the kids are born, that I'm getting hit on the shoulder and told to turn my expletive deleted alarm off. And, then I get the riot act. And why do you even suck that if you're not going to get up? I'm like, the intention was to get up. So I don't know. But yeah, I am usually up and moving by 4 a.m. That's like without alarms.
When you say I'm up at 4, because you shared with me before, you get up, you sort of work out, you have like a dark room moment or something. I want to hear that right now.
Yeah, and I read the book Miracle Morning a couple times. It's a great book. Everybody should read that book.
Hal Elrod, right?
My routine is very similar to that, and it starts. I wake up, I go downstairs, I guzzle water. Squeeze a lemon in there, and I mean that rehydration of your brain is so crucial for me. It is. I can I drink the water and I can feel my brain. That helps. And then I will take 10 to 20 minutes to myself downstairs in my office, and it's being present and, meditate and breathe. And that right there, that is the number one for me. And I found that years ago when I was really trying to calm things down in my mind. And
any type of breathing pattern. I mean, clearly you're closing your eyes. You're listening to an app. What are you doing?
A lot of guided meditation, and I do focus on the breathing. I will put on some music if it's not guided, and usually just sit with myself and notice thoughts, let them pass, and keep on keeping on. After that, I like to read. I read a lot. I read whenever I can, really, and I will read for 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes at least, sometimes more. It depends. If I'm really going for it, then I'll write a little bit, typically a page. If it doesn't happen in the morning, it happens in the afternoons or in the evening, but that's a recap of the day or a plan for the day. Exercise. And I'll tell you that was hard because with the kids, I can't necessarily get to the gym. So simple yoga in the living room, body weight exercises. Just stretching. When you are 45 years old, just stretching will change your life. Go out for a walk, breathe some air.
Yeah, it's a great point. Like you've heard, obviously, David Goggins and how crazy he runs like a marathon every day for 30 days. Yeah, the thing that he says that nobody even pays attention to is the fact that, like, he says, I stretch for 3 hours every evening. And it's like, that's the thing that allows him to do all the other things. So what you just said, that stretching, that yoga, that flexibility at 45, like it's needed, it's imperative. It's one of the most important things. Great job.
Yeah, 100%. And I know you've been active all your life with sports and whatnot. And when I was younger and I was physically working on cars and detailing cars and painting and doing whatever, I beat the heck out of my back, and I did not listen to everybody when they said, "Oh yeah, I know it's been with me." It's like, no, I wasted time. It's a waste of time. I can do this so much quicker. But I was wrong. So I put a lot of strain on my back, and I got to give it special attention now. Stretching is great. I love the chiropractor. A lot of lower back movements. Simple twist in the morning. Holy cow! Look, that'll get your day started.
And then anything after that, or is that now you start to go into like your family time? Is there anything that happens then after the stretching?
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to get back into the gym at least 3 times a week, like physically going to a gym and working out at a gym with all the equipment at my disposal. So by the time I come home from that, I got time to brew a quick cup of coffee, maybe scarf down some oatmeal or eggs or something. And yeah, my daughter's getting up. So I'm getting her up. I'm getting her yogurt. Most likely getting yelled at by her for something. I don't know what, but who knows? It's something different every day. I didn't take the lid off the yogurt the right way, or wrong color straw. That was the other day.
Yes.
Holy cow, she had a meltdown about that. She wanted a green straw. I gave her a pink straw.
Same with
I just grabbed one, but man, I was supposed to read her mind, I guess. But
thank you for sharing that, man. I wanted to ask you specifically because there's been moments where I've built this practice with clients. I've also done it myself, personally had some sort of morning routine, evening routine, and I got off track, and you helped me get back on track because you were living a healthy lifestyle and living a morning routine that helped me get back to my morning routine. So my hope is, because I hear from so many dads, well, I can't, I gotta be up at 6:30 for the kids. I can't do anything. And I'm always thinking, well, 30 minutes, an hour and a half make a huge difference. And a lot of dads I get to hear from, they take that time at night and they just kind of veg out in front of the TV for a couple hours and they miss that morning time, which is so imperative to I remember one time somebody said to me, when it comes to when's the best time to stretch, in the morning or at night? And I'm like, well, and I'm all from New England, when the Boston Pops play in Boston, musical, do they fine tune their instruments before they play or after? And of course the answer is before. And it's yeah, fine tune everything before. So you do that. So I always try to encourage dads to do that. And we've talked about that a lot. Thank you, Ralph, for this. Yeah, thank you. Hey, last but not least, we're going to get going here. You're a incredibly creative person. And I'm wondering, with all the stuff, with all of the balancing, how you, the importance of your fitness life, the importance of finding your center through meditation and writing, and this whole fumbling through fatherhood, having the grace in that. How do you get to express that creative part, and where does it come out? I know that's important to you.
It is, and I've done a lot of things over the years as far as creativity goes. I am an artist and I do like to paint a lot. I've sold some paintings. I've sold paintings in galleries. I've sold them online and across the country. That's cool. Haven't done it in years. I got to get back into that because that's extremely important for me to let my kids know that part of me that I want to make sure if they've got that interest, they go for it. My job keeps me creative. Love it. And me and Madeline paint rocks together. We make up songs. We're a band actually, and you may have heard us. You may not have, but we write a lot of music and we dance. And we're not very good dancers. So she gets that from me. I'm terrible and no rhythm. And yeah, being silly and let your imagination run wild with kids. That's how I'm creative these days.
That's so good. Thank you, brother. I really appreciate that. I mean, for you to say what you just said, for real. Be silly, let your imagination play, and you want to get back to some sort of specific creative art for your kids to show them that is part of who you are, but also I'm sure that's inside of them. That's so good. Thank you for saying yes, for being on the show here. In closing, we're just here and our lights are going out on us, which is part of the whole thing. But as we're closing out, we're just going to remind you one thing. Get out there and make a difference.